Okay, so this week's episode is Parental Glideance, and it looks like it's going to introduce us to Rainbow Dash's parents, which is pretty cool because this could be a big look into Rainbow Dash's psyche, depending on how they play it, so yeah, I've kind of been waiting for this one, and I mean, yeah, not going to count my chickens before they hatch too much, and, but this writer, though, he does have some credits on some pretty good shows, and he's a newbie, on the other hand, so I guess that could fall either way, but, alright, nothing to do but just go for it, so, okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Famous last words.
I'm just wondering if this is the best way to get there.
Yeah, right up there with the rocket to shoot yourself to the moon.
A Pegasus chariot, a flock of birds, a hot air balloon.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Seem a lot safer. Maybe I should try to find another.
But what fun would that be? Yeah, she would be royally screwed if that went wrong. Ooh, or if that went wrong.
Yes, Bo Hot Hoof at your service.
Scootaloo is still very much a fangirl.
Honey, something's going on out here.
That's one way to put it.
I'm so sorry. I can't believe I'm meeting you. My name's Scootaloo.
To be fair, this could be some of the fandom's reactions.
No pony is a bigger fan of our Rainbow Dash than us.
Well, that's also your symbol, to be fair.
Oh, it is a total blast to meet some pony that loves Rainbow Dash as much as we do.
What can we help you with?
Well, I know all about
And
Rainbow
that
Dash's tiny
is a
prizes.
perfect
I don't know anything
fit
about her life
for why
whatsoever.
Rainbow Dash is the way she is, trying to live up to parents like that and their expectations. So, okay, we're starting off on a hot streak. That's an interesting choice.
Eating Rainbow Dash's favorite food, made by Rainbow Dash's mom. We're sitting in Rainbow Dash's childhood kitchen. This
Scootaloo is in heaven right now.
the day of my life.
I think it's time for a tour of the house.
Okay.
Our little Dashie was an early learner.
Yeah, parents
and
like
so
these.
rambunctious.
Pictures of pictures. Nice. Just have to, like, shove their daughter in everyone's face. Careers ahead of time.
Rainbow Dash's
This,
linen closet.
okay, this is just like pure kinetic energy. This is fun. Rainbow Dash
I
trophy room.
installed the sound effects myself. Pretty great, huh?
So great. And look at this.
I concur.
Wearing it when she spoke her first words. So cool.
Well, that's an interesting way to commemorate that.
Bro, tradesies,
How do you know?
dealsies. So
Okay, I really hope she didn't use that.
You mean Rainbow
Okay, I'm
Dash's
just going to do
personal
myself a
collection of
favor and
Wonderbolt
assume
memorabilia?
she didn't. There's some cringe in there, but that can be fun too in its own way.
Wait,
Or at
you
least
don't know that your daughter's a Wonderbolt?
entertaining.
Our daughter's a Wonderbolt? Great timing.
Great door. Just okay. Which pony broke protocol and invited guests to our training exercises? I guess they're with me. Ugh.
Okay. I hope they're not gonna go the
Dad!
hokey Wonderbolts blame everything Rainbow can't control on her route.
How did you know I was here? Scootaloo filled us in on everything. You modest pony, you.
Could be going the route of relationship troubles between Scootaloo and Rainbow.
I'm Windy Whistles, the mom of the best Wonderbolt ever. Yeah!
Huh.
Just kidding. You guys were great too. Go team! Mom!
Yeah, that's not
Hello, man.
obnoxious at all.
Let's hit the showers and give Rainbow Dash some time to spend with her family. Okay, yeah. A great practice.
Okay, at least Spitfire gets it.
There's a reason I didn't tell them I'm a Wonderbolt. They can be a little bit embarrassing? Huh? Really? Yeah,
Okay, just
really.
steer clear of the, like...
Crazy into my life. What's wrong with a little support?
Okay, more stuff like that. Just, yeah. Steer clear of the pure, oh, my parents embarrass me route.
It all started when she won a spot in the coveted Wonderbolt Academy, training under Spitfire.
How did Scootaloo get that picture?
How wonderful.
Actually, I can accept the explanation that she's just that much of a fangirl.
He framed her for a crime she didn't commit. Oh no! Thanks to Rarity,
Getting into this.
Rainbow Dash proved her and she became an official Wonderbolt. Hooray! Wow, a gripping tale.
With no sense of irony, like, oh no, oh yes, hooray!
Show's about to start.
And actually, this could be a real knockout if it's like acknowledges that, okay, parents aren't always perfect and sometimes some parents are like this. That sometimes you'll have to learn how to work with that. Okay. Again, don't go too far with, like, cheering like this does happen. Don't go too far with this. Wow, that would get them instantly kicked out of the place.
Wow.
Okay. Again, steer clear of the pure hijinks, please. That's a little hokey.
You signed that photo!
Okay, her face there.
Scootaloo, get up there! You're the top!
You really do got yourself your very own mega fans. Lucky you.
Mixed on that, I mean, it's cool the Wonderbolts are supportive, but okay. List of hijinks, I'm zoning out.
You hung that towel! Yeah!
Greatest towel
Okay,
hanger.
we're not done with the hijinks yet.
Towel! Towel! Towel!
If you think you're still funny, you've run it into the ground. Yes, it is.
You are both too supportive! This is exactly why I didn't
I also hope they're not going to go the hokey moral route of,
too much!
hey, there is such a thing as too supportive.
I've had enough of you two being so proud of every little ridiculous, insignificant thing I do!
Okay, saying what's wrong with this can be a good moral. Saying what's not right, you're...
Yelling at us, sweetie. No one can make their parents feel more worthless than you.
And...
Your words were direct, clear, and...
I don't know, it's like...
Scootaloo!
Seemed like it really, really knew what it was doing starting out.
I
Now,
shouldn't have snapped at my parents.
it's like once the
That's exactly why I didn't tell them I'm a Wonderbolt.
comedic
I don't
potential
understand.
dries up, like
I'm
it
so proud of you.
feels like it
Can I tell you something?
didn't have a...
Okay, but you might
support
want to hold on to your
plan.
wings. Most other ponies my age were still in the Junior Flappers Club. I thought it was utterly mortifying having my parents cheer me on
Okay, so
even
it's
when I
not like...
lost. But
It's
then,
not
when I
quite...
started to win competitions, which didn't take very long, by the way, things got even worse.
Okay, so it's realistic. It's not Applejack, where the apple lies level of... Like, oh, see, Applejack was totally the opposite until one random thing happened.
Very embarrassing consequences.
Oh, now Rainbow Dash hates
You
being
know,
supported.
some ponies would dream of having parents like that. Yeah, growing up, I never thought I'd be the best at anything because no pony ever told me. But your parents told you over and over again. Look,
Well, actually, that's
best bath taker ever.
pretty good
Best
insight into
parrot eater under
Scootaloo.
3.
That's
Took
Scootaloo
them
doesn't
for
like
granted. And you yelled at them. Ugh, I gotta make this right.
No, wait, I mean...
I have an
Rainbow's
idea,
was
but I'm
right
gonna
too.
need your help. Thanks for doing this. Happy to help.
Okay. And I guess people are going to be happy to see the more supportive side of the Wonderbolts. Because, I mean... That's well, I guess teams like this work a lot of the time. They'll rib you when you do something funny by accident, but they'll also have you back.
But you didn't have to do all this. It's kind of embarrassing.
It is a bit much.
Did you just say that unironically?
And that's why Rainbow Dash
Oh,
is
you
the
don't
most
like it?
inspirational pony
The way
in
around,
my
and they're not
life.
even gonna...
I'll give you a B. Yeah! Greatest report giver of all time! Scootaloo! 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 Okay, this isn't a rock and roll concert!
Running the same joke into the ground one last time. Oh, boy. I mean, I guess Scootaloo did say she wanted the support, but I mean, okay, we just went through all that and she gets a B because of the sandwich thing. Somehow that's almost disappointing, just like... Annoy me one last time on the way out, why don't ya? Oh, okay, give me a minute. Okay, so like I was saying early on, this episode started off on a major hot streak. It was fun, it was irreverent, it was energetic, it was just a really good elbow in the ribs to parents like this, who you just have to shove their kid in your face just to almost live through them, or just be so wrapped up in them. I mean, even if it's not entirely a selfish thing, it can still be kind of a narcissistic thing in its own way, but at the same time, it kind of does it in a good-natured way. It almost lets it be kind of a positive thing at first. Well, it makes fun of it, but it also, yeah, makes it clear that they're doing this because this is someone they really love, and like, okay, it's laughable, but it's also good-natured in its own way. But yeah, it's just altogether, it's pure kinetic energy, and it was so much fun, and it had me so looking forward to the rest of the episode, and wow was I disappointed. Because yeah, it seems like the episode ran out of ideas once the gags about the over-the-top parents dried up. Like, it didn't have any different styles of humor to go for, it didn't really have any substance to fall back on, which is a real shame because all the ingredients were there, like how parents like this can produce a child like Rainbow Dash. That is a perfect fit. There's so much there to explore. That could potentially be one of the deepest and altogether best character episodes this show's ever had, and it doesn't try for it at all. It just keeps doing that same shtick over and over, long past the point where it's funny, way past where it doesn't even fit anymore. Like, okay, a Rainbow Dash fangirl meets Rainbow Dash's parents, who are, yeah, the kind of parents that just are totally wrapped around their daughter's little finger, or her hoof, I guess in this case, and just have to shove her in everyone's face. Like, okay, that's perfect, that's a great time to revel in that. In every other scenario after that, like, they're on the exact same note. When they go to talk to her, when they're cheering for her, I mean, okay, when they're cheering for her, they're probably gonna be a little bit obnoxious, but it's like they don't even say the kinds of things obnoxious parents would say. It's still the same joke, that they're over the top. Like, okay, you did that already, and I mean, and they're, they have the same level of unawareness as to how over the top they are in every scenario. It's just the same gag over and over, and it just becomes pretty clear that, okay, you know, that it's just gonna keep doing that. That it didn't, like I said, have any ideas after that point. It did it in the opening scenario. It crafted a great scenario to do that in, and then it tries to make it fit in every other scenario too, even when it's, yeah, really not a good parody anymore. It's just, yeah, for them to be that way in every scenario is just downright cheesy. And even though it does still manage some good gags in there, like Rainbow Dash's mom talking to Spitfire about dumb Rainbow Dash related stuff, or just, yep, stuff she does that there's no reason Spitfire would be interested in, just like a mom like that would probably do, or else just the sheer comedic timing of some of this stuff, like the face Rainbow Dash makes after her dad throws a piece of his shirt at one of her fans. Like, okay, there's still some good moments, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about as more and more as it goes on, like when it really just has nowhere to go, but even hammier. Like, oh, great job yelling at us. You really know how to make us feel worthless, or cheering for the towel hanging and for Scootaloo's B, and then just the reversal gag, like, oh, you're embarrassing us, dear, which could be a perfect moment for, like, flip it around, like, okay, but you parents need to acknowledge how you're a little bit full of it too. It's just like, no, they completely leave that one on the table. They don't even try to take advantage of that. It's just another, like, like, ain't that so hammy? Like, it's like, by the end, it wasn't even fun anymore, and I mean, it was like I went from, loving it on cloud 9 to, like, okay, the cracks are starting to show, but, I mean, I'm still liking it okay, to just straight up not having fun anymore by the end, like, really legitimately kind of annoyed with it. And what makes it worse is that it doesn't just pass on the potential for the character development, like, okay, it didn't really explore it, but we could still assume that it was something like that. It actually kind of tries for it and messes it up. Like, we get the flashback showing, how Rainbow Dash kind of became this way, influenced by her parents, and it's not because she wanted to live up to all this praise they were heaping on her, at least not in the traditional sense, or because she wanted to earn more of it, to make sure that she could keep getting it. It was because she wanted to not have to be embarrassed when they did cheer for her, just trying to reuse that same gag again, like, oh, they were really embarrassing cheering for her, and that's how it affected her in the past, just like it always has to be because of that same over-the-top gag, and it's like, no, that doesn't happen. You just replaced what could have been great with something just nonsensical and silly and hammy again, and, like, I mean, the closest it comes to kind of trying to have a point is, okay, being too supportive, it can be embarrassing, but it's not a bad thing, like, okay, but I mean, it seems like you're just kind of trying to attach that to this over-the-top gag, like, okay, well, it's a gag about over-the-top support, so we may as well talk about the pros and cons of over-the-top support in passing, but it's like, no, I mean, that's legitimately something that happens, and that could be so great, especially for a character like Rainbow Dash, who has shown, like, a lot of depth in the past, that, a lot of complexity that could have been influenced by that, and you just totally pass on it, and just, totally opt for a story about a cheesy gag. It's like, And you can kind of tell, too, how they're not all that interested in their own theme when they get to Rainbow Dash learning the lesson, because, there's a lot there that's kind of glossed over. Like, when they get to, when Rainbow Dash started winning, she just says, but then my problems became louder. So it's like, okay, so worse, not as bad, took it in a different direction. They just kind of try to skirt by how that's any different. Like, they just like, let's just kind of end it there. Just cut to Scootaloo saying, but their support made you want to do better. And then, Rainbow's like, oh, you're right, I was completely wrong. And then these parents don't even have to realize the error of their ways at all. That, they just, cut from there to, oh, I should never have done any of that. I have to totally make it up to them and make this right by apologizing, by a glorified, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, problem solved. So basically it ends with, oh, never mind. Otherwise, I guess Scootaloo's part of the moral was pretty well done for what it was, how she really would have liked more support like this growing up, how she probably even could have used it at points, and, how she might not have even had parents. I mean, I'm sure the fandom's gonna debate that for a while, but, anyway, I mean, that was pretty sweet. It was very fitting of her. It was a very fitting way to help teach Rainbow Dash the moral, and I mean, it can only carry so much weight when it's supposed to be playing off a theme that's not even carrying its own weight very well, but, I mean, it was sweet for what it was. And also, I think one of the ponies that Rainbow was supposed to be racing when she was younger was Lightning Dust, which is kind of an odd touch, but, not sure I necessarily like that, but, gets your attention, if nothing else. But anyway, at the end of the day, this is a really tough episode for me to grade, because, I mean, what I liked here, I really liked. I mean, like, the first 1/3 or so, I mean, I probably enjoyed more than any other portion of the season so far. And like I said, it was funny, I thought it was spot on. I mean, it was just, like, pure kinetic energy. It was an absolute joy, but then it went from there to, okay, the point where it was kind of clunky, kind of hokey, the cracks kind of starting to show, but still at least carrying its own weight, to then the point where just everything that was happening annoyed me. I mean, the joke was dead, and they were just running it into the ground, and every attempt was worse than the last one, and I mean, the attempts to take the plot to its natural endpoint were all just falling flat for me, and, you know, just nothing about it was working, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely in the B range. It's too much, too flawed for an A, too significant, and too much fun for a C, but I mean, even within that range, it's kind of hard to pick, because I mean, like, on one hand, it's really hard for me to imagine, you know, ranking this lower than, like, All Bottled Up, because I mean, I didn't check out at any point, and I mean, compared to an episode that the whole time just had me like, yeah, that was good, I mean, yeah, against something that had me really loving it, it's like, okay, that does not seem fair, but then on the other hand, I mean, I almost checked out, I mean, geez, like that, you could argue that, okay, no matter what it did, it ultimately fell apart, it ultimately failed in its goals, so I mean, that it shouldn't even get a pass, and I mean, yeah, which, okay, you could argue that, but no, it should definitely get a pass. But even so, I think I'm still gonna have to go with a B-, because I mean, not only was the latter portion of this episode not very good, it actually kind of undid what was good about the first portion. I mean, like I said, it ran the joke into the ground, killed that pretty good, but then it also took what could have been a really nice bit of development for Rainbow Dash and inserted something cheesy instead. Like, I mean, that is really disappointing. I mean, that does actually kind of sour the first portion, which seemed like it was so on point with what kind of parents Rainbow Dash would have, and then that's what we get at the end, when that really fell hard. So yeah, that does kind of sour what was good about the episode a little bit, but okay, I mean, that said, it still did give me that really great first portion that I'm probably going to hold on to for a while, and it still gave me a good idea, at least, for what would make Rainbow Dash the way she is. I'm probably gonna just pretend that it was, you know, what I was hoping it would be, instead of what they put in there instead. That, you know, that was dumb. Just like, okay, she got really competitive because she wanted her parents to stop cheering for her when she was in last place. Like, it doesn't happen. But, okay, and I mean, and on top of that, that still makes no bad episodes so far. I mean, they're all, I gave them all passing grades. I think that this season definitely has the right idea in a lot of ways, and I think it's definitely trying. I mean, I don't always like the direction it takes, but much more hopeful as to where it could go than I would, well, okay, I was hopeful last season as well, but I mean, this time around, it's not just the potential you see, you can see the effort there, you can see the stuff they're calling back to, the stuff they're taking advantage of, and it's not just stuff that they made up, like, hey, maybe that could go in a nice direction, but no, they're drawing on stuff that's already been established. They're still interested in the progress here, so, okay, that's not for nothing, but, anyway, hope you're having a good week, and I'll see you next time at Hard to Say Anything. Take care.